November 208, uniform, clear for takeoff, runway 34. Ready to go?
Yep.
Hello? Hello? Can you guys even hear me?
Flight Risk takes off with all the promise of a high-stakes thriller and promptly crashes before it even leaves the runway. Based solely on the slick, tantalizing trailers, you'd expect a film that soars with tension, wit, and adrenaline. Instead, what you get is a cinematic debacle that appears to have been pieced together during a caffeine-fueled, sleep-deprived frenzy. Static in the sky. Communication gone awry. At the outset, Flight Risk tries to set a humorous tone. In a scene that should have been a quirky icebreaker, we see the flight crew struggling to communicate without headphones. Apparently, because their voices are as drowned out as any semblance of logic in this movie. Yes, in the very beginning, our characters rely on personal soundtracks just to register their words over the in-flight, then fast forward a few minutes into the journey. And suddenly, after a bout of inexplicable commotion, the same cast effortlessly converse without any technical assistance. It's as if the filmmakers thought, why not let our narrative play musical chairs with continuities? The result is a baffling auditory seesaw that undermines any suspension of disbelief. Cockpit cliches. The pilot's phone fiasco. Then there's that unforgettable moment when a pilot is caught sweet-talking on the phone while simultaneously issuing flight instructions.
You want to have dinner with me?
Yeah, if you insist. I mean, we should probably focus on landing first. Your paying, though, seems only fair since you asked me.
Imagine being mid-air and receiving a masterclass in multitasking that mixes in dubious romantic overtures. One must wonder if the pilot was auditioning for a daytime soap, or if the scriptwriter simply ran out of ideas and decided that every cliché in the book was fair game. This absurd scene underscores the film's broader issue, a propensity to insert ludicrous, unmotivated twists that serve little more than to confound the audience. Defying physics, the unbelievable crash that keeps on crashing. If you thought things couldn't get any more outlandish, prepare for the piece de resistance.
Pull up, you gotta pull up!
I am!
Pull up now!
I'm telling you, it's fine!
A single propeller plane nosedives towards snowy mountains, collides with the terrain, and, miraculously, continues its flight as if the laws of physics were mere suggestions. It's a sequence that defies common sense, a spectacular crash that somehow leaves the plane unscathed, only to be followed by a revelation that the harrowing situation of being trapped in a freezing, cramped aircraft is easily resolved. How? Thanks to an air marshal who, in a moment of lazy ingenuity, remembers to whip out an iPhone with satellite connectivity. With that, all communication woes are magically erased, as if the device were a cinematic deus ex machina. The intended tension evaporates into thin air, replaced by an air of unintentional comedy that leaves viewers scratching their heads. Visual void, a cinematic wreck in every frame. Visually, Flight Risk is no redeeming factor either. The cinematography, if one can call it that, offers a series of uninspired shots and poor framing that mirror the disjointed narrative. The camera drifts aimlessly over the wreckage of what could have been a taut thriller, instead capturing moments that feel more like an afterthought. One is left wondering if the director was equally at sea with the film's lack of coherent vision, or if budget constraints meant that visual ambition was sacrificed on the altar of expediency. Dialogue disaster, a script that just doesn't add up. And then there's the dialogue. The script seems to have been cobbled together from half-remembered ideas and discarded notes, leaving behind characters who are as forgettable as their words. Every line reinforces the notion that this movie is less about thoughtful storytelling and more an exercise in stringing together random, disjointed thoughts. There is no character depth, no memorable arc, just a series of disembodied exchanges that barely scratch the surface of what could have been an engaging narrative.
Oh, cool. Did we land?
Yeah, we did.
Good job.
In conclusion, Flight Risk isn't just a misfire. It's an insult to the audience's intelligence. The film attempts to mix humor with high-stakes tension, yet it lands squarely in the realm of absurdity. The glaring inconsistencies, laughable dialogue, and patchwork narrative make it hard to take the film seriously. Instead of delivering a coherent in-flight thriller, it gives us a baffling mishmash of ideas that are more reminiscent of a train wreck than a high-flying adventure. So, if you're in the mood for a film that challenges your suspension of disbelief in all the wrong ways, feel free to give Flight Risk a try. But for those who value a storyline that holds together, one that respects logic and the audience's time, it might be best to keep your feet firmly on the ground and steer clear of this turbulent mess.